We've done a lot over the years to build a culture in the company around cycles, so we're cycle friendly. That started 20 years ago when we decided to make cycles free on ferries, and from there we just built on different initiatives to encourage cyclists to use the ferries. And lots of big things, some small things. We've recently just equipped all our buses on Waiheke Island with cycle racks, purpose-built racks for urban buses, and that's been really exciting for us. Certainly was an interesting project. We had a few we had a few challenges, and for those who are thinking about putting racks on buses, come and talk to me, and I'll give you some some thoughts and ideas on how you can avoid some of the pitfalls that we fell into. But no, they're all working well now. We even had our first bicycle ended up in lost property within a week. And the woman rang the next day looking for her husband's bicycle, and pointed out that he'd lost to shopping the week before on the bus as well, and you used the words bloody useless quite a few times in the conversation. So yeah, that's been big, and that's been really successful. We've had good support from Auckland Transport over the recent 2 or 3 years around more racks on wharves, but we need a lot more, and the racks need to be quality racks, covered, undercovered, not out in the open. We all know that some of the cycles that people use today are easily worth $7,000, and one of our challenges in carrying cycles on ferries is, you see in the top photo there, we can't just stick them on the back deck anymore. People are precious about their bikes. Salt latency air is not nice on bicycles, so we're facing more and more challenges around how we actually carry them. We have on some departures now up to 20-25 bicycles, and it's becoming quite a big issue for us. But we're spending some big dollars in that area. We've got a boat across the road going through a $1.2 million refit, and part of that is to extend the stern deck to allow more space for bicycles. So I think 4 vessels now have had the stern areas increased in size, partly to allow for bicycle storage. Big thing around carrying bicycles on ferries. But before I move on to the next screen, I just want to point out that we spend a bit of money too on promotions and marketing and maps and guides. We actually care about our customers, and we don't want them riding off into the boondocks of Waiheke Island and running out of water and energy and food at the bottom end there. So we put a lot of energy and time into ensuring that cyclists actually know where they're going and what they're in for and what they need to take. Because tourists, just have no idea how big the hills are around Auckland and around the islands. In terms of small things, we partnered with Auckland Transport recently in handing out free lights and reflector strips for people who were riding away from the Waiheke ferry without proper identification and lighting, just to make them safer. And that was a great success in a small way. We have 4 distinct markets in terms of our cycling market. We clearly, as you see, we have the commuter market, and there's a photo of a very full Devonport ferry. Cyclists, as I said, are precious about their bikes. They don't want to leave them. They want to stand with them, which makes it challenging to actually find space for them sometimes. We've had to develop protocols on the vessels for cyclists and passengers to interact around how they get off and on the vessels. Otherwise, cyclists become the enemy for other passengers. They become the people who are in the way, who are causing nuisance and bother. So we've got user groups for all our services, and we've worked to get cyclists involved in the user groups, so that the cyclists sit down with the other passengers and work out how they're going to get off and on the ferry, who's going to get off first to avoid any potential conflict, and they sit down and work it out for themselves. So the Birkenhead folk have got their own little ways of doing it, and the Devonport folk do it differently, and it works, and we just let them work out the protocols. We do like supporting events. We were a cornerstone supporter and sponsor of the Jewel on Matatapu Rangitoto, which has become really successful. Our support there is Maddie Logistics around transporting 3,000 competitors and 600 bicycles out there for a one-day event. We are really happy to talk to any event organisers about ways that we can support events. We don't look to make money or profit from events, but we're very happy to be involved in events if it works for us logistically and practically, and we can get more folk out onto the islands. Jewel, of course, is the only chance you get to ride across Rangitoto Island once a year, so it's a big thing. Then, of course, there's the recreational market, folks just taking their bicycle for a ride. Again, that's a big market for us in that you know, we want to get folks across the Devonport on weekends, etc. Around the waterfront, connecting across the North Shore. We have the, I think they're referred to as the Lycra Brigade, of course using our ferries regularly on weekends, you know, connecting through from North Shore to the mainland. And we also have folk riding as far as Coromandel on a training ride to come back on the Coromandel ferry on Sundays. And so more and more we promote those things on our websites to make sure that people know how it works and whether they need to book the bike or not on the ferry. And then of course there's the overseas tourist market, which is also important. We certainly promote and advertise, you know, cycling as a way of getting around parts of Auckland, Waiheke Island, and we're working hard to connect through Waiheke to Coromandel, so you can ride, you know, from Matiatia to Oropu, connect with the Coromandel ferry through to Coromandel, talking with the council down at Coromandel about safety issues on the roads down there, and just equip buses on Coromandel Peninsula with bike racks so we can take them over the hills to the eastern side where it's actually more cycle friendly. So the inbound tourist market's a big market for us. We would love to see Waiheke Island, as Barbara knows, in the New Zealand National Cycleway program. Got a bit of work to do there around some safety issues on the roading network down there, but you know, I think one day we'll succeed in that front. Together, you know, it's all just about promoting awareness and the fact that we can carry the bikes, and I'm happy to do so. In terms of, what am I pointing this out? There we go. In terms of current issues and challenges, this has been covered, but I think for us one of the current issues is around the shared space issues right outside here. More and more cyclists are forced on the footpaths now because Quay Street is just so congested with the big container trucks thundering along Quay Street. And we see more and more cases of pedestrian versus cycle sort of conflicts on the footpath, and keen to talk with other speakers here about how we can actually fix that. So getting to and from the ferry has got to be easy and safe. Cyclists don't want to walk 200 metres in their cleated shoes to get to a ferry. They want to ride as close as they can to the ferry. But there's got to be safety protocols around how they do that with other pedestrians. And of course Quay Street's going to become more and more utilised for events, other events, and that's great to see, but I think there's some real conflict around how we utilise key corridors like Quay Street around recreational use, event use, port access, and of course pedestrian and cycle access. So in summary, we're keen to work with anybody who's keen to promote cycling, keen to help, keen to be a partner in any initiative around easing congestion or initiatives to get more folk on cycles, whether it be events, whether it be the commuter market, whether it be the tourism market. And you know, it's often about the small things that matter to cyclists. And you know, we're proud of our culture in the company to the point that we get our staff on cycles. We had a number of bus drivers went through a NZTA pilot last year where we got our bus drivers on cycles, and I doubt whether some had been on cycles for over 30 or 40 or 50 years. I wish we'd taken a few more photos. Actually, it was classic. But it was about informing our bus drivers about the need to give cyclists a wide berth on the narrow roads around the island, and it was a great success, great team building exercise. Our new staff get taken on cycle excursions across to Devonport as part of an induction program and get them on bikes, and it amazes me how many young 18, 20-year-old, you know, young people haven't ridden a bike at all, let alone, you know, in their youth, and it's just a crying shame. So it's about the culture and getting our own folk on bikes as well.